Hello, ladies. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate your support. My voice is a little raspy. I always like my sexy voice. I'm coming off of something. I completely lost my voice for a couple of days, so it's coming back. So just bear with me if there's a couple of little breaks in my voices or little whatever sounds off. But anyways, today we are going to talk about 10 things I would never do if I was in perimenopause. This could also very much relate to postmenopause, but I just am speaking specifically to perimenopause as a 46-year-old woman on the verges of going into perimenopause, and as a nutrition practitioner, somebody who is living, breathing, eating, studying this stuff. These are things from what I've learned, what I've studied, that will affect how I go through perimenopause. And obviously I want to go through this period of my life as asymptomatic as possible. So these are 10 things I would never do. Again, thanks for being here, ladies. My name is Cynthia Williams. I'm an integrative nutrition practitioner. I specialize working with women 35 and older to help them understand these hormonal fluctuations, changes, different responses that we have to stress as we are moving towards this period in our life. The things that we were doing in our 20s and 30s, we can't keep doing them. We do have to make shifts. We do have to make adjustments because we don't have the same hormonal responses to those stresses, to those stimuli that we did in our 20s and 30s. So as our hormone stimulus changes or our responses to those stimulus changes, we have to change some lifestyle factors too if we want to have reduced symptoms, frequency, intensity, if we don't want this period to have a negative connotation associated to it. And it most definitely does not. It can be a vibrant, thriving time for you if you approach it as best as you can. So here are 10 things that I would never do as someone going through perimenopause or postmenopause. Number 1 is cardio. Overdoing cardio. I'm not saying no cardio. There is definitely a place for cardio, but it is very minute compared to strength training. You should be absolutely strength training 3 days a week minimum. If you could get 4 in, that would be great. Ideally, you want to strength train each body part twice a week. And the reason being for this is we're having estrogen, right? Estrogen is declining. Estrogen for women is what testosterone is for men. Estrogen is what stimulates our muscle tissue, what keeps it vibrant, what keeps it lean, what keeps us going and feeling good. And as we move towards the later stages of perimenopause, in towards that postmenopause phase, we have declined estrogen. So we are no longer receiving that stimulus from the estrogen for lean tissue. So our only way, well, not our only way, but the ways that we have to stimulate muscle tissue to just maintain the tissue that you have and any hopes of building new tissue is through our nutrition and strength training. So strength training is key for women moving through perimenopause into postmenopause to remain lean and to reduce your chances of disease and dysfunction as you age. The less muscle mass you have is directly correlated to increased risk of cardiovascular, metabolic disease, osteoporosis, and cancer. So you've got to do some strength training. Number 2 is being vegan. Vegetarian, for me, even is still really on the line when it comes to this phase in our life. I say vegan because vegan is no dairy and lean protein. And if you're gonna stick vegetarian, I think you could do it. You could get the amounts of protein that you need. Do I think it would be very hard and you would have to consume a lot of food to do so? Absolutely. But you can have that dairy in there. So if you're gonna get rid of animal meat, at least have the dairy in there. Dairy is fantastic for us, especially when you're eating yogurts or kefir or things like that are full of those prebiotics to help with the gut, because our gut gets compromised as we move through perimenopause into postmenopause as well. But milk products are a great source of protein for you to help you hit those numbers. You actually need more protein moving through perimenopause into postmenopause. As I said in point 1, we don't have that estrogen stimulus anymore. And just the natural fact of aging, each year you're losing around 3% of your lean tissue if you are not strength training and if you are not providing the nutrition for the body to hold on to that muscle tissue. So you have to have some protein coming in. So absolutely, I would not be a vegan. I would not cut out lean meat. I would not cut out dairy together. If I had to pick one, go vegetarian and really educate yourself on like the amount of vegetable protein and how to hit those proteins that you need in order to maintain your muscle mass, but also any chances of increasing less muscle tissue as you're going through this perimenopause, postmenopause phase. Number 3 is going low carb. So many women in this phase resort to going low carb because they're bloated, because they're holding on to water, because they start to have that tire belly that we call it when it comes to that menopausal belly that they're having, and they think reducing carbohydrates is the way to do it. And the reason they think that is because when we do eat carbohydrates, we do hold on to more water. For every gram of carbohydrate you eat, you hold 3.2 grams of water with that carbohydrate. So it's kind of an immediate result of sorts. So when they pull back on low carb, they're just reducing body water. They're not actually losing fat tissue, but it's that sense of, oh, the scale's down a couple pounds. It must be the low carb that's doing it, when actually you've just removed water, and that water will come back in some sort of way. We need carbohydrates. We need good sources of fiber coming in as we are going through peri and postmenopause. As I said in point 2, our gut microbiome, it is compromised as we're going. Estrogen again touches our gut microbiome a lot. There's actually there's a specific part of our gut, the estrome, that is specific to estrogen. And as you're having that reduced estrogen in there, it can cause a shift in the gut bacteria, and it can actually promote storage or fat abdominal gain. Spit it out, Cynthia. It can actually promote abdominal fat gain, as well as the other factors that go with the decline of estrogen. So you want lots of fiber, and fiber is carbohydrates. It's going to come in your forms of your berries, your vegetables, your sprouted grains, your legumes, your beans. You should be eating plentiful amounts of that. And if you want to know how many of those that you should be eating, I have a whole video listed on how many grams of carbohydrates that you should be eating per day, depending upon your activity level. You can find that in my playlist. Number 4 is I would never skip breakfast. Do not fast if you are a woman 40 and over. Fasting, all it does is it exacerbates your hormonal imbalances. As we are going through perimenopause, the later stages of perimenopause towards postmenopause, you have a decline of estrogen. And that decline of estrogen is a buffer for cortisol, meaning it helps to regulate your cortisol levels. So if you're having a decline of estrogen, cortisol naturally in and of itself, even if you're not a stressed person, is going to elevate, okay? When we have elevated cortisol, we have decreased insulin sensitivity. They kind of go hand in hand with each other. Those two things in and of themselves set you up for visceral or abdominal fat storage. So when you fast, you are actually putting more stress on the body. You are going to exacerbate cortisol levels being elevated. You are going to exacerbate the reduction of insulin sensitivity, and you are going to promote abdominal fat storage. 12 to 14 hours max is all you should be without food during the day. And that's typically from dinner to breakfast, right? We should not be eating about 2 hours before bed. I'll come to that later on. And then eating within an hour of waking in the morning. So that's all the fasting that you need to get or to have throughout the day. You don't need to do 16-hour fast. You don't need to do 24-hour day fast. That is just not going to benefit you like you think it is in this period of your life. Number 5, the fun police would not get drunk. I have just basically giving up alcohol. I'm not telling you that you have to give up alcohol. For me, I've given it up. I don't like the way I feel on it when I'm drinking it. I definitely don't like the way that it makes me feel the day after or a couple days after as well. I just don't react to it well anymore. And most women going into peri and postmenopause, you're probably seeing this too. Women, especially as we age, we have less water volume than men. So the same drink, so let's say a 5-ounce glass of wine, is going to affect a woman differently than it is a man due to just the nature of water volume that women have. It's going to be more concentrated in our bloodstream than it is a man. But on top of that, alcohol is going to exacerbate any of the disease and dysfunction that comes along with the hormonal fluctuations of peri and postmenopause. Not to mention, alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen. It is the same class as tobacco and asbestos. It causes cancer. But aside from that, okay, it increases your chance of osteoporosis, breast cancer. It disrupts your sleep. It disrupts your ability to go from fat burning to fat storing. It affects insulin sensitivity. It affects so many processes in the women's body. So if you're going to have it, I'm not telling you not to, but moderation is key, especially when you are in these peri and post menopause. So if you feel like you're getting it, using it as some kind of stress reliever at night, it helps you sleep. It's really not helping you sleep. It's really going to exacerbate the night sweats, the hot flashes. It's going to exacerbate any of your menopause symptoms, and it is going to disrupt your REM sleep, which means you're not going to get a solid rest of sleep. You're not going to get that brain scrub that you need to be clear-headed and not have brain fog the next day. So moderation is key when it comes to alcohol. Number 6 is my overall activity throughout the day. I will not walk less than 10,000 steps a day. This matters just as much, if not more, than your actual exercise that you're doing. I've said this before, if I was put in a position where I had to pick, I could only do one, would it be my activity level for the day or my workouts? And I could only pick one, I would go with my activity level, because that is how important being active or getting your steps in throughout the day is for your overall health as a woman. There's so much research and studies out there now that show getting 10,000 steps a day reduces your chances of all causes morbidity by up to like 50%, can reduce your cancer risk, your metabolic risk. It helps with your joint pain and your health. And then on top of that, it helps to reduce the abdominal fat gain. That is the hugest complaint of most women, because we have that, they get that tire belly of fat, that menopausal belly. So your overall activity, finding ways to move throughout the day, is vitally important for your health as a woman going through peri and postmenopause. Number 7 is only doing Pilates and yoga, or these low impact type classes that you think you're getting strength training in, but it's not enough, ladies. It's not enough to stimulate the change that you're looking for, or to hold on to the muscle tissue that you want to hold on to as you're going through peri and postmenopause. The stimulus is just not great enough in those two activities or those two types of exercises. You have to pick up weight that is strenuous. You have to think lifting for strength. You need to put, I want the lean, toned body, blah, 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 which you will get if you're strength training, but you have to change that mindset and really focus on strength, because we want to maintain our strength, which will allow us to maintain our independence and our health as we are aging and going through peri and postmenopause. This also helps keep with bone health and heart health and brain health, etc. But Pilates and yoga, it's just not enough. Now, again, like cardio, I'm not telling you not to do it. There is a place for it, absolutely, but once a week. Put those classes in that you enjoy. The majority of what your workout should be strength training. That should be the bread and butter if you want to live the longest, healthiest life that you can. Number 8 is eating 2 hours before bed. I would never, ever do this. I didn't say never, ever. Every once in a while it happens, but I never, ever eat 2 hours before bed. And the reason for this is, one, when you eat really close to bed, your body is going to be spending a lot of energy, a lot of exertion, a lot of blood flow into the gastric system to help break down that food, digest that food. And it's going to disrupt your sleep with your body putting so much energy into breaking down that food. Number 2, your digestion. It's not going to be great. If you're eating a bunch of food and then going and laying down, that is going to slow down that digestion even more and make it sluggish and make you bloated and make you wake up the next day and just feel like bleh. So I really, really try not to eat 2 hours before bed, which puts me back into that state which I was talking to earlier, which will put me in that 12 to 14 hour period if I don't eat 2 hours before to bed, and then I eat within an hour of waking up and get that protein in. I have that nice little block that gives my gut a little break, lets me help process, digest food, but also I have 2 hours from my last meal before I go to bed where maybe I'm putting away laundry, making lunches, making lunches, cleaning up the house, taking a shower. So I have this light movement that's going on that's going to help me digest my food, help the body process it quicker, and then allow me to get a good night's sleep. As you're going through peri and postmenopause, your sleep is already precious, right? We already have so many other factors hot flashes at night, that midnight waking where you just wake up and you cannot get back to sleep, or you wake up to go to the bathroom and then try to go back to bed and you can't. You have so many other things going on. This is one thing that you can easily control not to disrupt your sleep at night, and that's not eating 2 hours before you go to bed. Number 9 is be dehydrated. I will not be dehydrated. I will always have my water with me drinking, and not just the water, I always will have a serving of electrolytes every single day to make sure I have plenty of sodium coming in so that the water can actually move through the cells and hydrate me and have the cells function optimally like what we're looking for with my energy levels, with my skin, with my digestion, all of those types of things. Not consuming enough water affects you more than you think. It can create joint pain. It can create a slow, sluggish day. It can create a slow, sluggish digestive system. It affects your energy. It affects your ability to recover from workouts. It affects your energy during workouts. Water is a huge component to you feeling good and looking good as you're going through peri and postmenopause. Last but not least is I will never drink caffeine after 12 p.m. Again, we have enough things going on that is going to disrupt our sleep or make sleep not as good as it used to be or as high quality as you want it to be. And consuming caffeine after 12 p.m. is an easy thing, again, just like not eating 2 hours before bed, that you can control to help ensure that you have a good night of sleep. Caffeine has a half-life on it. So what that means is if at 12 p.m. I had a 200 milligram cup of coffee, which is a typical cup of coffee, at 6 p.m., I still have 100 milligrams of coffee running through me. At 9 p.m., I still have 50 milligrams of coffee running through me. That is enough to disrupt your sleep. It would be 12 p.m. before that coffee has fully evacuated your body, and you should be in bed way before 12 p.m. Going to bed early is the new cool thing, ladies. Get to bed early and get some good sleep, okay? So no caffeine after 12 p.m. Keep it before, and control the things that you can when it comes to your sleep, because sleep is just, it's so precious. It's so precious. Those are the 10 things that I would not do during perimenopause and into postmenopause, as I said earlier in the video. I hope that this is helpful. I hope that you will incorporate some of these things into your lifestyle. And remember, it's not trying to switch all of these things at once. It's one little thing here. Get really good at being really consistent at that one thing, and then bring on something else. If you try to change all your lifestyle factors at once, it is going to be overwhelming. You are going to burn out, and it is not going to last. And that's not the goal here. The goal is for it to be sustainable for you for the rest of your life. But you do have to be open, and you do have to be ready to change that mindset as you're hitting the age of 40, especially 45 and beyond, because the things that you're doing, they're just not gonna work anymore. You can't keep doing the same kinds of workouts. You can't keep eating like you were. You can't keep going out and have a bottle of wine a night or a couple, a week. You do have to make these changes if you want to feel optimal, if you want to be lean, if you want to feel good, and if you want to have a long, healthy lifespan that is not full of medications or hot flashes or just all these symptoms that control your life. You want to run your life. Your life should not run you. So thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.